What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Stocks to Watch. And markets at all-time high, and we are seeing bulls continuing their charge. And I think the markets are extremely strong at this point. We were discussing about banks and pharma; they did extremely well. I mean, very nice moves, especially public sector banks. Fantastic moves. I'll talk about that. And the next week, and I think Monday, which is tomorrow, and the next entire week, I think we're going to see lots of spurts of rallies that's going to be coming into the mid cap space, and we have a lot of stocks setting up really nicely. So the momentum is very hot. FPI flows are at all time highs, and the market has solid momentum. So let's quickly first understand what are the stocks that we discussed on Thursday for Friday's trading session, which was the latest episode of Stocks to Watch, and we saw brilliant action over there. So you look at Karnataka Bank up 10%, JK Bank up 8%. We had a discussion about both of them, did extremely well. NLC India also, we were talking about this base being, being taken out. NLC India did really well. Kalyan was up 3.5%. We booked our profits in Kalyan and VMart, both the positions we took out. And all in all, I mean, it was all about banks and it was all about pharma. We even took a Biocon position, and that was also a fantastic trade. I will be breaking that down in some other video. But more or less, what we saw is banks are again very, very active, and we saw a lot of fresh IPO stocks creating fresh IPO bases and doing extremely nice stuff. So all of that is fantastic, and the markets for tomorrow, which is Monday, and the entire week sets up really in a bullish way. And I think we will see the mid cap rally to continue outperforming the market. So let's quickly have a look at the stocks that we had on the watch list on Friday, and these are the names of the stock. Almost everything worked as per plan. Even Kalyan worked as per plan. This base was played out. We booked our profits. VMart also we booked our profits, and we booked about a 2.5 hour. And for us, Friday was extremely fantastic. We were up 3.5%. So all in all, very good week to close and very good month to close. The last month, June, very bullish, very nice. And now we're going to look to understand which are the stocks that I'll be watching out for tomorrow, and I'll kind of share the logic behind this as well. So let's quickly go to the watch list for 3rd of July, and this is where interesting, lots of interesting names are going to come here. So the first stock that I'll be watching out for is going to be JNK Bank. Now the reason I'm again going to be watching the stock out is because ultimately this is creating a nice little base. So this is like a long wide base, and I think this is just the start in JNK Bank. Now I think I've told you in the previous episode also, JNK Bank is a bank with the highest CASA ratio, 55-56%. Very good valuations. I think this is probably the best banking name as far as valuations are concerned. And the PSU privatization theme, along with the PSU's increasing efficiency, I think everything sets up really well for JNK Banks. I think this is going to be something that I'll be keeping on my radar for the next entire week or so. I think it's going to do really well. Next up is Ethos. Now, Ethos is again coming out of a new fresh IPO base. So after the IPO was done, the stock created a nice little base. Although this was full of shakeouts, full of anticipatory movements, and now I think the base is more or less complete. Very good numbers, very good growth story. So although the last two candles you can see, the last 2 days have been decent action in Ethos. So I'm just looking at this from an intraday perspective. If we get an opportunity when it starts trading above the range high, I think I'm going to be interested. Another name that we had discussed in a few of the previous videos, I think on Wednesday, that I was looking at Indian Bank and I was like, this is something that could mature, and now it finally has matured. And this stock is also up about 5%, same banking theme. And I think this is bound to continue. Now, apart from Indian Bank, you'll see UCO Bank, Union Bank, you'll see multiple other banks. I think all of them are setting up in an extremely nice way. So I think I will expect this to continue even going forward. So basically, all of these PSU banks, I think they're setting up really nice, and even private banks are doing really well. So Indian Bank definitely has to be on my radar. Next up is Suprajit. Now Suprajit, again, I'm looking for this range break of this entire range. Now again, this was up 4%. So maybe tomorrow and day after are going to be more crucial. It's going to be a little tricky to trade this because we don't really have a narrow range inside this. But I think this is also going to be something really interesting to watch out for. Next up is Refix, and this is not ready yet, but could be ready very soon, and this will explode very, very fast. This is a very, very interesting name and very high growth stock. So Reflex Industries is also one of the names that I'll be watching out for, a high risk name, but I think it needs 1 or 2 days and then it's going to be ready. Next up is Fortis. Now, Fortis is another interesting play because I've been, talking and I've been very vocal about healthcare and diagnostic centers doing really well. So we have had discussions about Vijaya Diagnostics, we've had discussion about Metropolis, Lal Path Labs, and by the way, Metropolis and Lal Path Labs had very good bullish OI build up in the futures market as well. So I think this entire diagnostic theme is going to be continuing. Even Rainbow Children's Hospital looks really well. So I think Fortis is going to be moving out of this range tomorrow, and I think this is going to be an interesting name to watch out for. Next up is City Union Bank, and another very laggard kind of a banking name. This stock has been underperformer currently around these areas of demand, and it's a textbook liquidity grab move on the upside. Doing a change of character over here, and I think this is going to be a really interesting stock for me to watch out. Now, City Union Bank is a low float stock. It is in the FNO space, but this stock, whenever it moves, it gives massive moves. So keep this on your radar as well. Next up is Imami Limited, a very textbook style of a move, then a pullback, dried up volumes, and then I think it's going to be continuing tomorrow. So Imami is one more name that I'll be watching out for. Now remember, Imami is one of those FMCG names which doesn't really have very smooth price action, so you'll have to be a little careful about that. But all in all, the structure is setting up really well over here. Next up is escorts, and I think we had a discussion about this in some of the previous episodes as well. I think this is setting up really nicely. Tractor sales numbers are very good, and escorts I think got a few upgrades also. So I think everything's setting really really well for escorts. Next up is my favorite name from this list, and this will be rate gain, right? So rate gain is setting up extremely in a very nice fashion, picture perfect range contraction into a new IPO base, right? So this is what the stock has done, and the stock has basically based and contracted around for a good amount of time, more than a year, and I think this is going to be ready, and this is going to explode really nicely. So this is going to be probably one of my favorite names to watch out for tomorrow, which is Rate Gain Travel, and this has multiple catalysts. Next up is Gujarat Industries Power GIPCL, and I think another textbook, structure and textbook setup over here. The stock has tested this supply multiple times, but I think the post, catalyst move that happened over here, and this happened with all Gujarat companies. I think this is going to be a continuation of that. A difficult stock to trade. I mean, not the most liquid one, but I think there could be fantastic action here. Next up is GPPL, and I think this is also another name that I have a position on, and I think this is going to do really well. This stock has again created big, nice base range over here, so you can clearly see stock has done nice little things, and the stock is now just ready to move. So I'm just going to try to take advantage of this. We already have a position, a swing position in GPPL, and I think this is going to be probably another pop tomorrow, another big green candle. That's what I'm expecting. Disclaimer: we already have a position in this, so another stock that's going to be on my radar is going to be this. Next up is Avanti Feeds. Now this is not my preference, but I think it's setting up in a way that this could start exploding tomorrow. This is one of those names which is from a sector which is horticulture. This is basically agricultural commodities. They basically export seafood, etc. This industry has been facing a lot of headwinds, and because of that, the entire industry. So if you look at Avanti Feeds, if you look at Apex Frozen Foods, all of them have not done really well. But the technical structure right now is setting up in such a way that we could have an explosion. So keep this on your radar. Next up that we have is UCO Bank, and I think this is setting up really well. And I think another name from the banking space, which looks very promising to me. I think we could see one or two pops tomorrow, a break out of this range, and I think that's going to be really interesting to watch out for. And the last stock probably from the list is going to be Donier, right? So Donier is again, on Donier Industries from the clothing textile space, So if you look at the left side of the stock, so the stock has been, moving very nicely, and it has nicely been consolidating into this 117 high all the way till the 73 low. This is 2023, top that the stock created, moved inside this range. And if you observe that on these 2 days, we have seen some rapid action over here with volumes in this particular stock. And I think this could just be a prep, and then we start moving higher towards the 110, 120 area. So I think this is going to be another stock that is really interesting for me. So all in all, the two or three favorite names that I have is J&K Bank for a continuation. I've got another name which is Rate Gain. I've got UCO Bank and Donier. I think all four are extremely nice, and Ethos. I think that's going to be a little tricky to trade, but I think it has everything, all the ingredients to set up really nicely. Now remember, the markets are near all-time highs, and the markets are very vulnerable for a correction because it could happen anytime. So please ensure that your position sizing is, in place. You're following your risk management rules, and I wish you a very good trading day for tomorrow and for the entire week. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and hit the like button, and comment and tell me if you like such content and if any of these videos helped you out, right? So I do this because YouTube's algorithm works that way. So whatever you feel, you can put it on your comment box. And if you have not subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow. All the best for your trading day and the next trading week. Thank you. Bye bye.